Hi, readers. It's Lori. Welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper, and welcome to what is my October TBR and a unique way of creating my pile of possibilities. I have a stack of 4 books that I really want to finish in the month of October, which means that this is going to be a hard month for me unless I have a lot of reading time. We shall see. I'm going to just assume that I will. But in addition to this, the other day I was writing down some notes about what I wanted to read in the month of October because it's a horror month for me, and I really do like to read, kind of scary books in this month. And I thought, well, how am I going to decide what to read? And I wrote down a bunch of them, but then I thought about, I've been watching people do these bingo games, and I've been watching people like pull cards for their TBR. And while this is a pile of possibilities for me, in addition to what I really want to and really should get done, I do want to make it fun. And so let's talk about the books that I have to read first, and then I'm going to show you what I decided to do. So the first one, I'm sad to say, is my third quarter nonfiction pick that you, my subscribers, chose for me, and I did not finish it. I just could not seem to get to it, especially this last week when I, as I said, wasn't feeling well. I was sleeping way more than I was reading. So I need to finish The Wager. Now I have started it, and I have started to annotate in it. And so I did want you to know that sort of the reason why I'm going to go ahead and give myself a sort of a pass, a bigger pass than I normally would on this for now. I'm going to continue reading it. I'm hoping to finish it by the end of October, first part of November at the latest, but I honestly want to really annotate this and really discover it. I'm enjoying it very, very much. I am writing little bitty notes on here about what I'm feeling about this and that. Usually it's also words that I don't know what the meaning is. I'm highlighting passages as well, but and I'll write notes if I need to, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm just not ready to say I can finish this today because I absolutely cannot finish this today. And that's the end of today's the day before the end of this month. But yeah, I mean, it's just not going to work. But nevertheless, I will soldier on, so to speak. So that is my nonfiction pick that you all chose. Then my Book of the Month Club selection. I do have to read one this month, and so I've chosen The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. So this will help me with a little bit of horror, right? Because this definitely is horror. It's definitely historical, very atmospheric. You can tell by the cover, but I will say that I started to read this a while ago. I've had this since May of 2022. It was a May of 2022 Book of the Month Club selection. But I wasn't in the mood then to continue with it for whatever reason. It wasn't working for me, but I enjoyed it. And I also think that I perhaps had borrowed it on ebook or audiobook and it went back. So I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to make sure that I can finish it one way or another. And so this is the one. So this is Gothic horror. Not even kidding you. This is about a woman whose name is Beatrice, whose father was executed and her home was destroyed. So she meets this very handsome, kind of charismatic guy, Don Rodolfo Solorzano, and he proposes to her, and he sends her to this hacienda where he lives, and he then leaves mostly, and she's there by herself trying to understand who's there. There are other people in the house that are obviously taking care of the house and of her, and she knows 2 things for certain. Something's wrong with the hacienda, and no one in the hacienda will save her. I cannot wait. I remember getting to the point where she had reached out to a priest. That's the last I remember. But I know it's going to be great. It just wasn't the right timing. So my book club book for the month of October was a good and surprise choice. Richard does a great job choosing what we will read this month. It is Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan LaFanu. This was originally published, I think, in 1871. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Yes, 1871. Look at me. And this was edited by Carmen Maria Machado. If you don't know who that is, she wrote a novel called In the Dream House, and I have never forgotten that book. Very unique, very different. I may do a video about it soon because I think that one too is kind of underrated, but I've never heard a whole lot about this book. I know now that it's ancient, so it's an ancient classic. I also know that this is the book that inspired Bram Stoker to write Dracula. So this is a book about vampires. Jordan Hall says, I can't think of a better guide through this ethereal, infuriating book than Carmen Machado. I think that that's true. So this one has illustrations. I mean, really, there's just so much here that is so lovely. I cannot wait to get to this. And it's only about 139 pages, so it's not going to be a hard read for me at all. And it is tiny print, but really, this is so happy. And this was pressed into my hands by the library, which is supported by the LGBTQ fund, which helps us to find all of these books and also get copies of them each month. So that was very nice of them, and I'm so grateful to them. And then for my book club pick for my readers that I met through BookTube, we're going to, in November, read Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. The reason I'm bringing this forward, though, for me to read in October is because I did not get to read the book that we will be discussing next week. I'm going to go to the book club, but I did not get to finish it. The problem was I didn't own it. I had to borrow it from the library in two different ways, and I couldn't finish it before it went back, and it was really in high demand. That book is Blue Sisters by somebody, Coco Mellors, maybe. I might be wrong. Nevertheless, I want to make sure that I don't leave this till the last bit because I've just been struggling with things coming up and then getting in the way of my reading, which, how could they? But this one I really can't wait to read. I have been excited about it since I first heard about it because it's about women in space, LGBTQ astronauts, just has all the things that I want as a young child growing up, born in the 60s, right? And just watching all those shuttle launches and still to this day, watching as many as I can, loving that space exploration, have always been interested in it. So this was perfect for me. And I got this one, I think at Barnes and Noble. I did not get this from Book of the Month, but everybody seems to love it. And I'm probably not an exception to that. So this is what I got to read for my TBR in the month of October. Now, how am I going to do the rest of the possibilities? Here's what we're going to do. I have a TBR jar that I made a while ago, and I've had different prompts in here for books that I own, which didn't work so well because I would pick one and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to read that. And then I'd put it back. And so earlier this year, I redid the TBR jar. And the whole goal of it now is that I have some prompts in here. So when I choose one, I can decide which book I'm going to read that will fulfill that prompt. And I do want to read some horror this month, but whatever comes out is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pick about 6 of these, and then, we'll see how many I read. And I will pick it, and then I will look for a book to go with this prompt. So the first prompt is, read a book that might make me cry. In the horror genre, read a book that might make me cry. All right, hang on. Okay, I found one. And it's not horror per se, but it is fantastical, and it's been on my list for a while, and that is The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. I cried after I read the first book that Meg Schaefer wrote and I loved, which was The Wishing Game. No, I knew the name of it. But this one I have not gotten to, and it came out in July of 2024, so that would still be a backlist for me. And the synopsis of this has made me realize that this might be a very poignant. So I don't have to cry because I'm sad. I can cry because I'm happy. But Jeremy and Rafe are missing in the Virginia State Forest. That's how this begins. And then they reappear 6 months later with no memory of or explanation of where they went and why they were gone so long or how they survived. And so 15 years later, Rafe is an artist who is internally really struggling with what's happened, and Jeremy has become a missing persons investigator. And so he has the ability to help find or help vet tech Emily Wendell find her sister who vanished in the same forest as they did. And so they go through this process of what happened to them, what they know of, and helping each other and trying to find this woman's sister. And the end of this says, alongside the headstrong Emily, Rafe, and Jeremy West return to the enchanted world they called home for 6 months, for only then can they get back everything and everyone they lost. It sounds emotional to me, and hopefully has a happy ending, and I would assume, and I'm going to put the prompt in here so I'll remember when I do the wrap up if I read this. So, The Lost Story, Meg Schaefer. All right, I'm going to pick another one. This is read a book set in Scotland. Ooh, do I have something in horror land? All right, it took me a minute. Read a book set in Scotland is going to be Alice Feeney. We're back to Book of the Month Club reads, Beautiful Ugly. This one's been on my shelf since December of 2024. And I have not gotten to it. There's a bookmark in it, which might mean that I got that far, but I don't think so. I think I just stuck it in there. But this is about a man whose wife, I think she disappears. He calls her, she's on the phone, she slams on the brakes, he hears all of this, there's a crash or something, and he finds her car by the cliff's edge, the headlights on, the driver's door open, but he can't see her or find her. And a year later, he's overcome with grief and he wants to know what happened to her. He can't sleep, he can't do anything, so he goes to Scottish Island to try to get his life back on track. And then he sees a woman who looks incredibly, remarkably like his wife. I know, I've been wanting to get to this. Perfect if this works out for me to read in the month of October. Not a horror, neither one of these are horror, but I still think I can make something work with these. I still really love both of those picks. So here we go. Magic TBR jar. Let me take a fat one here. Read a book given to me by a friend. Oh, okay. Hold on. I found one and it's horror. I'm so excited. This is Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay, and I borrowed this from my son-in-law to read it. He had come home one day from shopping, doing some things, and he came in with this, and he'd gotten it for himself at the bookstore, and I said, oh, I'd love to read that. So when he had finished it, and I think my daughter read it too, they passed it on to me. I do like Paul Tremblay. I don't always love everything he's ever written, but I do like most of what he's written, and this one seems like it would be one that I would really enjoy. It's short. I'm happy about that too. But also, it is about this group of kids who make this, I think, just kind of a horror flick, but it's like they're their own filmmakers. They're young. 1993 is when this begins. And not very much of that movie was ever released to the public, but it's like a phenomenon. People cannot stop watching it. And you know that we've had several of those, so we understand how that works, right? But there's one man who played the thin kid, and he's the only surviving cast member, which seems a little unsettling too, and that there were secrets that were embedded into this project in the screenplay. So now it says he's going to help remake the film, even if it means navigating a world of cynical producers, egomaniacal directors, and surreal fan conventions. Demons of the past be damned, but at what cost? Okay, perfect. I would love to get to that, and that would be a horror, so that makes me happy. All right, that's 3, right, of the 6 I'm going to choose as possible prompts. All right, let me get to the next one. Hopefully I can find another horror-y one. Let's see. I don't know what this says. Search the shelves at B&N. No, I can't do that. Okay, let's get to another one. Uh, read a book my father would have read. Okay, this is going to seem weird. I know this is going to seem weird, but this is what I think I'm going to do. All right, this is a book my father did read. So that's the bend that I'm giving on this. But also, I've been wanting to reread it, and I recently reacquired it, and it's horror by one of the masters of horror. And I really have wanted to reread this. I am so excited to say that I have this prompt and can possibly get to this in the month of October as well. So this is about Carrie, who is a very unique child, young adult, and she's in high school, and because she's very unique and very different, she's really having a hard time struggling to connect with people and to meet people and to be accepted, mentioned, noticed. So she can move things with her mind, she can make things happen, and she can scare the bejeebies out of them. So what happens in this book is pretty incredible and pretty scary. And I read this when it first came out. And then my dad, I've said this before to you, but if you haven't watched my channel before, my dad found it on my shelf and decided he was going to read it. And I freaked out because I knew what it was about. But he did read it. 1974. So I would have read it in 1974. So that would have made me 13. Yeah. Okay. So read a book my father would have read. It's a book my father did read, by golly, and it's going on the list. So that's one, two, three, four of the six, right? Yes. Okay. Two more. Read a thriller about an author. Okay. Okay. I got it. This is hilarious how this has ended up. Okay, this is a recent purchase, so it's not a backlist read for me. It came out in June of this year, but it is The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. Because it says Ghostwriter, I feel like I will be happily reading something that could be horror, but it's pretty, it has a pretty intense plot. But this is a ghostwriter, and she's also writing about a book for her father, who was an author too. So there's two authors in this. I have wanted to get to this since I got it, but again, I've been trying to, read the backlist, do the things, but this one is not a backlist, and I'm okay with that. In 1975, the Taylor family shatters in a single night when two teenage siblings are found dead in their own home, and the surviving sibling, Vincent, never shakes the whispers and accusations that he was the one who killed them. Decades later, his career as a horror writer skyrockets, and ghostwriter Olivia Dumont has spent her entire professional life hiding the fact that she is the only child of Vincent Taylor, and she's then asked to ghostwrite one of his books. Yes, please. Might get to that too. Gosh, I would really chomp down on my Book of the Month Club readings if I were to read all of these this month. Once more. All right, let's see. Read a book set in the future. A book set in the future. That's another Book of the Month Club book, but I don't think I can do another one. Let me think about this for a minute. Okay, I think I have one. We'll see. I think so. This is Run by Blake Crouch. I recently acquired this. I didn't know a whole lot about this novel, and I have enjoyed so many of Blake Crouch's works before this. This one came out in 2011, but for whatever reason, it missed my radar. But it does say that it's dystopian And so I'm going to assume, and it's also horror in the Goodreads synopsis. So there's that. And yeah, I think this might work. All right, so book six. 5 days ago, the epidemic of rage began. 4 days ago, the rash of senseless murder swept the nation. 3 days ago, the president addressed the country and begged for peace, even as the murders increased tenfold. 2 days ago, the killers began to mobilize. 1 day ago, the power went out. And tonight, the killers are reading the names of those to be killed over the emergency broadcast system. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what would. So yes, this one is not huge, so that's good. None of these are chunkers, and probably on purpose for me, but 319 pages, and I got to tell you, Blake Crouch is one that I pick up and I keep reading and reading and reading and can't stop devouring it. So we shall see. I know you're curious about which ones I'm going to read, and I am too. I'm really excited about this list. So let's wrap this up quickly so that you can see all of these. So the ones that I have to read for this month, in one reason or another, The Wager, David Grann, nonfiction. The Hacienda is my book of the month club pick, but also now you notice I could pick several of those. Carmilla, which inspired Dracula, and Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So, ooh. For my TBR jar picks and piles of possibilities, this is a book that might make me cry, The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. This is a book set in Scotland, Beautiful Ugly, Alice Feeney. This is finally a true horror thriller. This is Paul Tremblay, and this is Read a Book given to me by a friend, which is my son-in-law, so that works. Read a book my father would have read and did, Carrie by Stephen King. Read a book about an author, right? That was this prompt. So let me just check and see. Some of these I hid inside and some of them I put at the beginning. Yes. Read a book about an author. So that's The Ghostwriter, Julie Clark. And Read a Book Set in the Future is Run by Blake Crouch. I feel like that's a great TBR. I'm so excited about this. I hope you are too. I may do this again. To be quite honest, sometimes I make a TBR that's just mood reading inspired, and then by the time I get to it, the mood is gone. So I don't know. We'll see if this works better or differently. We shall know soon, I guess. But thanks for watching today. Let me know what you're planning on reading in the month of October. If you're a horror person, that enjoys that, let me know. If you're like, nope, no horror, but give me a Victorian novel, there's Victober. If you want to play other TBR games, there's so many of them. Leandra and the TBR Zero has a great one. I just saw Krista's video about what she's going to read based on that readathon, but there's lots of things to do in the fall. There's lots of scary stuff. There's lots of funny, cozy stuff. So enjoy. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know if you've read any of these, which ones you think I should really get to when it comes to the pile of possibilities. And as always, happy reading. Bye.